Do you have any questions or anything before we start, or it's just like
Just don't ask anything, any tough questions.
don't ask any tough questions? Okay, cool.
Don't ask anything about Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. I don't know what that means.
If you're watching the Jordan things, you know, in interviews about the Olympic team.
All right, no Isaiah Thomas.
No Isaiah
stuff.
Thomas questions.
Cool.
No questions about Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, okay. I. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Film Fireside. This is my dad. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to my dad.
Thank you.
This is my dad, Rick. We're going to do the same thing. If you're familiar with the channel, doing the same thing we did for Mother's Day, we watched his kind of favorite movie. We picked a favorite of his favorite movies, I guess. You don't really have like a favorite movie.
No, I guess I don't. I tried, but no.
Not really a favorite movie. Favorites.
Entertaining movies.
Many entertaining movies that he likes. One thing you were telling me on the phone that I like, when I think this is important, is because one of your reasons is you don't really have a favorite movie. You just kind of like to be taken away. So you want to tell?
Yeah, I think the movies that I've enjoyed the most are ones where you basically sit down, the lights go down, and you're there. You know, you forget about life for a while and are entertained probably more than anything.
And that, like, I was like, yeah, I think that's a great reason to have a favorite movie, one that can just help you.
I was scarred a little bit on the philosophical, what is the deep meaning of this, because I just didn't like English when I was in school. So I
you know what?
Entertained.
It's so funny because actually we spent this time really on like Shakespeare stuff in English in high school, and that drove me nuts. I hated that. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that now just on my own. And also with film, it's much more different for some reason. For me anyway, I don't know. Favorite movie that he selected anyway for this video is The Quiet Man, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara.
That time there seemed to be that the studios they were hired, and they had that core of actors and actresses that worked for that studio. So if you see a lot of John Wayne movies, a lot of the Westerns and stuff, there's the same actors playing different characters.
Yeah, well, what's something I kind of read about that was really interesting. Again, that kind of studio setup. So this film, a lot of people describe this film as just this nice kind of fluffy Irish tale with not much to it. And a lot of people who read the script were like, I don't want to make this. A lot of studios were like, we don't want to make this. But the studio that did make it were like, okay, we'll do this, but you got to make us a Western as well. And they're like, fine, like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, that I doing a little reading about it too, is that's what John Ford and John Wayne were known for with the Westerns.
Yeah. So John Ford directed Stagecoach. He also directed Grapes of Wrath. He's directed quite a few other Westerns too. Oh, the other one, I haven't seen this one. I don't know if you have, is Who Shot Liberty Valance? Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I have.
I haven't seen that one.
I've seen it.
John Ford has a couple of films, or at least one film anyway, on the AFI's top 100 movie list. So he's a really, really well-renowned director, and of that time specifically. And he has a lot of Westerns under his belt. I was looking at his IMDb profile, and there's just all these Westerns. And yeah, so getting into this movie, that was kind of the fun thing for me, is I have never seen a John Wayne movie where he wasn't a Western.
Where was it? Yeah, that was unique. The thing, I guess maybe just as a little background, I actually, when I was in high school, in one of my English classes, I was pretty fortunate. I had some really good English teachers, but The Quiet Man was actually a short story.
Oh, okay.
It was, I didn't know this until I looked it up, but it was published in the Saturday Evening Post, February 11th, 1933.
Okay.
But I remember we read that in that English class, this short story of The Quiet Man. And the other one I also remember too was 12 Angry Men.
Yes.
We read that, and that's more of in a play format, but we read that in class reading stuff. But that's kind of what caught. I thought it was an interesting story, and so then when I saw the movie, because I think the movie was like 1952, 54.
Yeah, something like that.
So,
the 50s.
But yeah, that's kind of where those came from, those English classes and those short stories. And so it was just an entertaining, funny. So, and the characters all have their own little area which they excel in. So it's just an entertaining, great one-liners.
Yeah,
things
there
come across.
There are so many ones that I missed a few of them. I feel like if I watched it again.
Oh yeah.
there'd be more that I laugh at, but a lot of them really got me. Like it's really funny. I thought it was really funny anyway. I mentioned earlier The Quiet Man. There's a lot of studios didn't want to produce it, and it's kind of funny that they didn't, because this film ended up it's one of John Ford's most popular movies, because it's just one of his greatest. So it's funny that a lot of studios didn't really want to make this film, because I guess they just, since the story is just so simple, I mean, there isn't really like, and the way it's resolved is really funny to me, because they just fight it out and then get drunk. It's fine. So
things were resolved then.
And maybe some studios saw that and were like, oh, that's dumb. But I think it's great. But this film won 2 Oscars. It won 2 of the, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Oscars it was nominated for.
Right.
One of them being Best Writing. So like, it's just kind of funny how things like that happen.
Yeah, and so won best Oscar for Best Director and Cinematography. Which actually, when you see that, they filmed it pretty much all in Ireland.
Yeah.
And so that countryside and that culture was brought out.
It was very well done. And one thing actually that really stuck out to me, this is one of the things too, is art direction and set decoration and whatnot. And I don't know if this would be attributed to that or cinematography, but like it was really seamless, because you can kind of tell, especially in times like then when you go from a studio to like on set. It's pretty obvious, but those times where they're very clearly in a studio, the wind was just seamless, because there's a lot of wind they had to recreate because it's a really windy day. And I just thought that was really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie before, where they had to do that. And I was like, man, that had to have been such a headache. But like they did it, and it's very, very seamless too. I'd be curious to read that short story. You were telling me about that, and I should have read it before we did this, because to me there seems a little more to the script than what's just there. It is a very simple script, but it's still a pretty complicated situation, because of this idea that even though his roots are in Ireland, he grew up in America. So with all these traditional things are coming his way.
Just the clash between culture and tradition. And then him, yes, born in Ireland, but comes back and he doesn't understand some of those cultures and those rich traditions that do that. And the cultures of Europe, and that you're in Ireland, and just how they brought those out, and the traditions, how cultures were so, you did things because of tradition.
Yeah. Well, and it takes a humorous look on that too, because it's like some of the things are kind of silly, like they're first dating, and he's like, we can't be alone. They're like, they have them facing different ways on the wagon. So
then you get the matchmaker that goes and sets it all up and for you, and so and he was having a hard time with that as a character. But that was for Maureen O'Hare's character. That was how it was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
that's exactly. How she dreamed about.
Well, it's kind of like
how her growing up and how her life would be, and marriage and children and
like a girl's fairy tale wedding. You can't take that away from them.
And they talked. Part of the issue of that whole plot with that was the conflict with the dowry. That it was important to her
because that was part of
that was part of her tradition. Part of the thing that the dowry is what the woman brought to the marriage. Exactly.
And she wanted that made her feel special. That makes the marriage more legitimate. So, and it's just so funny what I think is really cool about it, and maybe this is why it is considered a really good written screenplay by the Academy, and I think many others, is that the solution to that isn't, well, culture and tradition is just stupid. Just let it go. Do your own thing. Because that's kind of the message usually.
Right.
And I think it's cool that John Wayne, who was at first trying that, then finally goes, all right, let's do that. I will understand. I will try to go and.
But in the same sense, they didn't do everything.
Right.
Of that, like they were supposed to be engaged for 6 months or whatever. Right?
That's a very good point too. They both challenge it and stick to that which they want to stick to. So I think that's a pretty like happy way to live, like a respectful way to go about with this type of situations. Oh, okay. So you mentioned this earlier. I read this. I was looking up some facts. It was kind of funny. John Wayne was feeling pretty hesitant about the film because they didn't film on location first. I guess they were filming something, or not everything was on location first. They were filming some things in sets, and he was looking around and was like, these sets are terrible. He just thought it was so bad. But then again, it got nominated for set decoration and art direction. So it's just another funny like contradiction thing about this film. So we have a little bit of genealogical significance for the story.
Right. And so I explain, I mean, part of that too is like, maybe this is maybe why I like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about it's, there's some things that help me maybe think or imagine about how our ancestors were. And so it's in Ireland, and we're Scottish,
right?
But same,
more area, or less the same thing.
Area, it's similar. At least you think about the when they filmed in Ireland and those those rock walls and that stuff. I mean,
it's a very Celtic environment,
right?
Which Scotland can appreciate as well.
So one of the scenes and one of the parts of The Quiet Man is there's a horse race that they have in that, and there's a whole thing about that that's actually pretty entertaining,
right?
But they have a cup
for the winner.
Anyway, within our family, and so my great grandfather and your great grandfather. So in Scotland, actually, The Quiet Man is kind of set in the 1920s, but this happened in 1867. So, but basically, same scenario, horse race. I imagine similar to how this one was. It wasn't a track; it was over land.
Yeah,
and he won this cup, this silver cup, which is we'll have a picture.
You have a picture right here.
Yeah, and we have that cup, but he won that in that race. So when that scene happens and what's it going, I can kind of think, this is probably similar to what that was, with the great grandfather, and how that was, and the culture and the people and the area and the way that happened. So that's probably one thing I kind of like it, and it just helps me see that or think about that.
That's another thing about this movie that is just great is in and of itself just a huge love letter to just Irish Celtic culture, right? It's really wonderful. There is a song. It is, I think, just called "The Isle of Innisfree," and so the movie takes place in the town of Innisfree. And there's a folk song that, like, I noticed there's a similar tune played the whole time. And there's a time in the film where it stops and Maureen O'Hara is playing the piano and she's playing that tune. But she's singing words to it, and it is just called "The Isle of Innisfree." So, and I was thinking, like, what is that? What does that tune or that song mean something, or if it suggests something? And I think at least to me, it just simply suggests this is a beautiful place and we love Ireland. And I'd love to see more about John Ford, and maybe, I don't know why, because again, this Western Quiet Man.
And in that scene too, with when you talk about family and thing, my mom and your grandma used to sit at the piano and sing and practice when I was growing up. Yeah. And so I see her in that scene. She's playing. She's got her piano. That was one of her themes. That was one of her dowries, and she's singing and playing and singing, and that's what my mom would do when we were younger. So there's just a lot of family parallels there that makes me think of stuff like that.
That's really cool. That's a pretty personal story then, personal connection, which is awesome that something so simple can do that. And so it's just really cool. I think about how much this film means to you, and studio heads, if they had maybe listened, if they were more, I don't know if there was like as much like push to not get this film made, but I know some studios didn't want it. But it's awesome that this film, that John Ford and John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, because those are the three that were pushing to get this film made. It's awesome they did that because your life was blessed by that, like your life was influenced by that. My life was influenced by that.
And you think about in this film too, I think it's not just the two main characters that necessarily, I think, carry this film. Yeah. I think it's the supporting cast that adds so much entertainment.
Get your book out. Put his name down. Dermot Fahey.
And kind of in their different way they weave in these characters and influence, and they're both having trouble in the marriage, so they both go talk to the different religious priests and the advice that they get, and it's just it's so entertaining. And like I said, like the one-liners and stuff that probably in some of this stuff now would be considered
wouldn't fly.
Maybe. Well, now one of my favorite lines is, I don't know why, but it's just intended when he's taking her back to her brother, and the lady runs up and says,
"Son, here's a good stick to beat the lovely lady."
Here's a nice stick to beat the lovely lady with. Beat the lovely lady with. And he's like, thanks.
Well, and it's a funny town too, how everyone's just so involved in everyone's business too. My favorite thing that really got me to laugh really hard is they're kind of manipulating some circumstances so that the brother will give permission for the marriage, and as as the priest, the Catholic priest, kind of tells a lie, the other guy with them, they just sit down after the lie's told and says,
3 Our Fathers and 3 Hail Marys.
It tells the priest that's what he's going to have to do.
That's it, repent. So gives him the stuff, which I thought that's very entertaining. So yeah, there's a lot of funny one-liners like that, just really clever, witty things.
Okay, so one of the other things that's entertaining about this movie is you, as you know, our family, the people in our family, is we communicate with quotes from other movies.
Yeah.
That's how things we.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So one of the, I mean, it's right now it's culturally really unacceptable at this point, but in our family stuff. So in one of the movies, John Wayne comes home.
Woman of the house, where's me tea?
Like basically, where's my food? What's going on? You know.
Well, it says it when he comes in drunk.
Yeah, and well, no, that was the letter, but one of the first ones, he just comes in, you know, and says that. Well, I've said that to your mom sometimes. I'll come home from work, and I just don't see anybody, and I'll just say, "Woman of the house, where's me tea?
Where's me tea?"
Which basically, you know, get your own.
What's a score you give Quiet Man? How would you rank Quiet Man? Mom gave West Side Story 5 out of 5 dance shoes.
5 out of 5 dance shoes.
So you can do, or you can give it.
Yeah, I always grew up in, you know, two thumbs.
Two thumbs.
You know, I can't remember what movie critics were.
2 thumbs way up. Yeah. For this movie. So 2 thumbs. We give this 2 out of 2 thumbs.
Yeah, it's a fun show. So it's a great movie.
Definitely go check out Quiet Man. We like it. It was a fun movie for our family, which I had just seen recently. I feel like everyone else in the family had seen it except me. But Quiet Man was a really good movie. Definitely go check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take time today. Go tell your father you love him, that you appreciate him. Go watch your dad's favorite movie. It's probably a Western or a Western directed.
Or a sports movie.
Or a sports movie. Something like that. We can probably guess. What's your dad's favorite movie? Comment below if you know. Go figure out your dad's favorite movie. Watch it today on the Day of Fathers. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching.
And happy future Father's Day to you.
And happy future Father's Day to me. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.